And hey, we're live on the air. This is Jeff Hester from SoCal Hiker, and we're talking about the Climb for Heroes. We're just about to get started. I see a bunch of people already online. So hi, Greg. Hi, Doc's Blue Eyes, Jennifer, Michelle, and Angelina, and Christy just joined. Hi. We'll probably have a few other people who straggle in, and that's totally cool. I want to thank you for joining in here, and I want to kind of give you sort of an overview of what we'll be talking about. But before I jump into that, I want to just kind of show how you can get your questions answered in the session. So, I'm going to go anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour, depending on how long this goes. Welcome, Tracy. Thanks for joining. There is a chat in the right-hand side of your screen, which you can see. I know Angelina and Jennifer, they've already jumped in there. There is also a question and answer tab. So if you scroll down below the video, you'll see a big orange ask a question or suggest a topic button. Please use that if you have a question, and you can put up your question in there. I'll make sure that we get those answered. And if you'd like to join me on screen, maybe just send me a message on the chat and let me know. Or if you're asking a question, you want to ask that question on screen, or you want to share some advice, you can put that and ask a question as well. Just say, hey, go ahead and invite me on screen. You can go on video with me, and we can have that conversation live. So it makes it kind of fun. I want to cover a few things today. I'm going to talk a little bit. I'm going to refer back to my notes here. Basically, what is the Climb for Heroes? What is that all about? We're going to talk about what is Team SoCal Hiker. I know that many of you are probably already signed up through Team SoCal Hiker, or you might be on another team, and that's totally awesome. You might be doing solo. That's good too. We'll talk a little bit about the route for this year's Climb for Heroes, and training was one of the questions that came up. So we'll talk a little bit about what I'm doing to train, and maybe share some advice from folks who've done this a number of times. I know Greg is an old hand on Mount Baldy, so he might have some good advice for training. And I'll talk about what to bring on the day. We'll talk about leave no trace principles and what that looks like, and then sort of the schedule for that day. So if you're on Team SoCal Hiker, kind of how we're going to meet, or how you could get one of these great T-shirts. Let me see that. You can check it out. That's the T-shirt for our team, and what day looks like and how it's going to work. Try to address all the questions that come up. Hi, Carell. Thanks for joining. Okay, so what is the Climb for Heroes? This is the 5th year that a nonprofit organization called the Heroes Project has held the Climb for Heroes. So it's an annual event. They call it a climb, although technically that's not accurate. It's really a hike, but climb sounds cooler. So it's Climb for Heroes. They hike up to Mount Baldy from the base of the Mount Baldy ski lifts. So they start at the parking lot for the Mount Baldy ski lifts. And that's kind of nice for a couple of reasons. One, you don't have to have an adventure pass to park there. You'll get free parking for that for the day at the event at the Mount Baldy Ski Lodge. And then they go basically up to the fire road, kind of a shortcut, very steep, and it follows all the way up to the Notch and then through Devil's Backbone, and it's an out and back. The money that's raised through this event goes to the Heroes Project, which works with veterans who've lost a limb in service to the country, and you can read a lot more about the Heroes Project at theheroesproject.org. Let's see, I'll post a link in here. So there's a link I put in the chat. The Heroes Project basically takes these folks and they do some really awesome things. They show them what they can, kind of redefine what they can or can't do by training with them and helping them to hike and climb some of the tallest mountains in the world, including mountains like Kilimanjaro and Everest. So it's really spectacular what they've been able to do. And it just shows that the limits that you think that might be there because of having lost a leg maybe aren't there, and they can overcome those limits and do things that even I'm not even interested in going for. So that's pretty amazing. This is the 5th year that they've done that. It's the 3rd year that we've had Team SoCal Hiker participating. And I'll say just a few things about Team SoCal Hiker. Obviously, we're leading that, and we have a huge group of people. I'm really stoked by so many of you who have joined the team. I really appreciate it. I look forward to hiking with you. It's our 3rd year of participating. We have over 50 people who've met the minimum fundraising requirement of $100. That's a fundraising minimum that's set by the Heroes Project, and it kind of helps defray some of the cost of make sure that their costs are covered. They have sponsors that are providing breakfast and coffee and snacks, and they have stations along the route, and there's a lot of things that go along with that, a lot of swag that you get. So the $100 minimum is well worth it. You can pay that yourself. You can fundraise, obviously, as many of you have already done, but it's a good value. So Team SoCal Hiker, you can join Team SoCal Hiker if you haven't already. It's not too late. And I will share a link in the chat for that. So basically, you can either donate or you can join through there. And when you sign up for the Climb for Heroes, there's no registration fee to join. It's free to join. You have to select what team you want to be a part of. But however, to participate on the day of the event, they will actually, the folks at the Heroes Project will have a printout of everybody who has raised the $100 minimum, and they'll know how much you've raised. And they usually run that report on the Friday before the event. So on the hike is on the 21st of May, so it'd be on the 19th of May. They'll run that report. They'll have it on hard copy there at the check-in. If you haven't raised $100, that's okay. You can still show up and pay the difference to make that $100 on the day of the event. So there's sort of the last call. However, to get one of our team T-shirts, you have to meet the $100 fundraising minimum by April 30th, unfortunately. So you have just less than a week now to hit that. And if you do, we'll have these ordered. And that's to allow me time to order and have these shipped and have them ready. We're going to be handing them out morning of the event, so it won't be shipping directly to you. You have to be at the event. And we'll have similarly, we'll have a list of everybody who's hit that minimum and qualified for the shirt, and we'll be passing those out and wearing this. So I'm looking forward to that. It's going to have, what we're going to do with Team SoCal Hiker, because we have such a big group, we're going to split it. We're going to have some pace groups. So if you are looking for a group of other people to hike with, there's no way that we're going to have 50, 60, maybe even 70 people hiking in one big group. But we will have, a faster group and a, average speed group and a slower pace group. So we'll be able to put you into a pace group that you would feel comfortable with. And if you want to hike with just a couple friends, that's fine too. So we'll be able to recognize each other on these. So that's going to be fun. The route itself is an out and back route. If you haven't done this particular hike before, they, as I said, they start at the ski lift parking lot. They go up a rather steep gravel trail that hits up with the fire road that goes up to the notch. And from there, from the notch to the summit, basically it follows the standard route up to Devil's Backbone, across Devil's Backbone, around the side of Harwood, and on up to the top of Baldy. A couple things you should know is that they will have camps, they're calling them, set up along the route. So base camp is in the parking lot. That's where you check in. That's where you'll have breakfast and coffee served by Tender Greens. That's where you'll pick up your t-shirt. We'll do a group photo, that kind of thing. The first camp, the camp 1, is a mile, 1.1 miles in, about 765 feet of vertical gain. And at that camp, there will be a veteran who's in the Heroes Project program. So you can meet, you can talk to them, and you'll pick up a little poker chip. I don't have that poker chip with me, but you'll have a little chip that they'll give you that you can exchange when you get back to base camp for a Climb for Heroes t-shirt. So, and then the further the camps you go, the more different kind of swag that you can turn those chips in for. So you collect up to 5 chips if you go all the way to the summit. And you could get some other swag basically when you get back. Each of those camps will have a veteran there. Some of them will have some other goodies along the way. You know, they have temporary tattoos and things like that. And I think the nice thing about that is that you don't have to go all the way to summit. So if you want to go just to the notch and that's what you're comfortable with, or maybe you have a bad day, or had a late night the night before, whatever the case may be, there's no harm. You can go just as far as you want and turn around and come back. So that's the nice thing about an out and back route. And stations do provide a nice kind of break. It's a good place for you to pick up your poker chip, decide, do I want to continue on or not? And one thing to be aware of is that there is a cutoff time. So last year, the organizers set a cutoff time of 2 o'clock. So if you weren't at the summit by 2 o'clock, you had to be turned around there wherever you were and started heading back down. And basically that's just to make sure that everybody gets back off the mountain safely and that sort of thing. So be aware of that. One of the things that, I'll start with maybe the training for this. So I'll talk a little bit about that. One of the things that I've done for training is, and I recommended this on SoCalHiker.net. So if you go there and look on the homepage, you'll see a link to an article about the Climb for Heroes. And on there, I have some training tips. Basically, the best training that you can do is hiking for this, and hiking uphill, because there's a lot of vertical gain here. If you hike at altitude, at the elevation, it goes over 10,000 feet, you need to be ready to turn around if you're not feeling well when you hit those higher elevations. It does take a lot out of you, and some people will get altitude sickness. That's a natural thing, and it can be quite serious. So you need to be prepared. If you don't know how your body's going to react, if it does have a negative reaction, you need to be prepared to turn around. The mountain's always going to be there. There's no harm in turning around if you need to. So what I'm doing is hiking regularly during the week. So I do short hikes, 4, 5, 6 mile hikes several times during the week. So either after work or early in the day, that kind of thing. And then I supplement that with longer hikes on the weekend. So you want to try to work up to double digits. If you can, this hike, if you go all the way to the summit, is 12 miles roughly. And so if you haven't hiked that distance and you don't know whether you can or not, that's something to test out. You can start by doing 12 miles with some hills. You don't have to do a huge elevation like that. But ultimately, you want to know, how's my body going to respond when I'm doing that? So there's a few weekends left to try to get in some of those longer hikes and try to hit double digits. 10 miles or so should be good. Let's see. So those are my training tips. Anyone else have some training tips they want to share or want to come on screen and share some tips? Just let me know in chat. Okay, so those are a couple things I'll say about training. Oh, and the other thing that you can really do to maybe help accelerate your training, and I'm doing this as well, is carry, even though I'm just doing, a day hike, and it might even be a short one, I'll carry a day pack, and I'll load it up. In fact, I take bottles of water, even heavy ones, like my Hydro Flask, and I'll just fill it up with water, more water than I'll need, just to give me some added weight in there, and that's going to help improve the workout, and the strength training goes with that. So it's going to multiply the benefits. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about, I want to talk about what to bring on the day of Climb for Heroes. A few things, I have props here for this. Let's see. Okay, you're going to want a day pack. This is an REI Flash 18, like super lightweight. I'm going to be bringing this. It's a little bit on the small side, but I can cram a lot of stuff in here. And the nice thing about this particular pack is I'm going to be doing some backpacking that weekend as well. So I can actually just kind of roll this up in my backpack, and it stays, pretty small. So you want to pack. You're going to want to bring sun protection, hat for sure, and sunglasses and sunscreen. The sun can be really intense, and you don't want to get burned, even though it might not be warm or hot, and it might be. You want to have adequate sun protection. You want to have plenty of water, and recommend using in keeping with leave no trace principles, rather than using single-use water bottles. You get a reusable bottle like a Nalgene, which is also a nice place to put your stickers and things like that. I will have some great swag to give out to you guys while we're there. Or even like a Hydro Flask, a little heavier, but it keeps everything really nice and cool. I'm going to be carrying 3 liters. There is some water at the notch, so you can refill there. 3 liters might be overkill for some of you. For me, I feel good about that. So that's what I'll be carrying. Food, I'm going to be carrying energy bars, energy gummies, and some electrolytes. So I'll probably have a bottle of Gatorade or something similar to that, and some things that I can kind of munch on. So when I get hungry, I can kind of keep fueling my body every hour on my way up. Layers. So I'm going to be wearing layers. I'm going to be wearing convertible hiking pants. I like those particularly because I get hot, and so I like to zip legs off when it gets warmer. That to you, but that's what I'm wearing. I'm going to have, of course, a tech tee, but I'll be wearing that under my SoCal Hike t-shirts. These are cotton, so I wouldn't wear that against my skin. It'll just get hot and sweaty, and then you'll get cold in the wind. So I'll wear a tech tee under that, and I'll have a rain shell. So just in case the weather turns rainy or whatever, and this also cuts the wind down quite nicely. And I will have an insulated layer, so I can, and this folds down really, really small, so I can pack that in that pack really easily. Mainly because it can get really cold up there on Mount Baldy. Those of you who have been up there probably know this. I don't need to tell you, but it can get freezing there, and the wind can be really brutal. So it's nice to have that kind of thing. You may also want to have a knit cap, and you may also want to have some gloves. I probably won't in this case. I think it's going to be warm enough. We may not need that, but it wouldn't hurt. And I'm also going to be bringing my portable handrails for the steep parts. Portable handrails, that's another word for trekking poles. I like these. These are a Cascade mountain pack. You can get these at Costco. They're carbon fiber with a cork handle, and They have the snap lock, telescoping locks there. I like these a lot, and they help not only on the climbing parts, but also on the downhill. Just kind of they lessen the strain on your knees and your joints, which it's important to me. So, what else were you bringing? Oh, cash or credit card for incidentals. So there are going to be things that you can buy, some additional merchandise down from the Heroes Project down at base camp. You might want to stop at the Baldy Notch. There's a restaurant there, so you can pick up a cold beverage or sandwich or whatever on your way back. And after you finish the hike and you're done, I'm going to be hanging out at the Mount Baldy Lodge for a little while. So I'd love to, as many of you feel comfortable, want to come and join me, have a burger or nachos and a beer, Tracy. That would be a lot of fun. So I'm hoping that, a good group of us will get together and we can meet down there at the Baldy Lodge in Baldy Village. So that's what you should bring on the day. I talked a little bit about leave no trace principles. There's going to be about 1,000 people, maybe more, on the mountain that day. So there's definitely an impact to the mountain when that happens. But we need to do our part to make sure we minimize that impact as much as possible. So I want you to be practicing leave no trace principles. Make sure that whatever you bring in, you pack it out. Even if it comes down to things like an orange peel. Orange peels, when you eat that, that's trash. It needs to be packed out. An apple core needs to be packed out. You can argue that it's biodegradable, but it's not natural to that environment. And so that's what we want to try to avoid. If I usually bring along a trash bag, some of those plastic grocery bags, which are becoming more rare. But a Ziploc bag works well, and pick up any trash that you see along the way. So just to kind of leave it better than you found it. I already talked about using, some kind of reusable bottle rather than a single-use bottle for water. Okay, so the event day schedule, logistics on the day. 7:45 a.m. is when I would recommend you plan to arrive and find a parking space. It's going to take a little bit of time. There's probably going to be some traffic. You want to try to get there so you can park, get all your gear together, put your boots on or your hiking shoes on, whatever you're wearing, and then you may have to walk a little ways kind of through the parking lot up to where the check-in tables are and the start of the hike. So I would plan for about a 7:45 a.m. to get there. 8 a.m. is when they open the check-in, so you may be able to line up beforehand and get checked in. They do have some folks who are racing to the top, the fastest badass, they call it. So I don't know anyone here is planning to do that, but they're going to start off at 7:30, so they'll be getting started a little bit earlier. But at 8 o'clock, they open up the check-in for everybody else. 8:15, so check in, come and find us. We'll have these red shirts, and we've got a few volunteers that are going to help pass these out. So, and yes, we will have different sizes, Angelina. So yeah, we have a women's cut, men's or unisex cut, and we also have a women's racerback tank available. So, and if you get that $100 fundraising minimum by the 30th of April, I'll send you an email asking which shirt and size you want. So 8 o'clock check-in, get your t-shirt, put it on so that we know who you are and know who else is on our team, and pick up breakfast and coffee, check out the other booths that are there. At 8:15, we'll gather for a group photo. So we'll try to get as many of our team together as we can at that point, and do one big group photo before we head out. We'll break into pace groups, and so I'm looking for volunteers to help we'll have a pace group leader and a sweep for each of those groups. And we'll have 4 different pace groups. And so if you want to hike with a group of folks and get to know some other great SoCal hikers, I would highly recommend that. If you're more comfortable just doing your own thing, that's okay. I accept that as well. But it's really kind of fun to go up and meet other people and get to talking with other folks. So we'll have those pace groups, and I don't expect that we'll all be at Summit at the same time, and some of us may not even make the Summit. But if we can try each group to stay together as much as can, and kind of regroup at each of the camps on the way up, and then they can do a group photo on the Summit, those that make it. So that would be awesome. Let's see. So I mentioned last year 2 p.m. was the turnaround time. So you have, if we start at like 8:20 or 8:30 in the morning on the actual hike, you've got just under 6 hours to get to the summit. So that's quite a long time, actually. That's a mile an hour. And Greg's pointing out that the Labor Day race record is an hour flat to the top. That truly is badass. Let's see. And then when you get back down, you have the option of taking, you can even take the ski lift back down from the notch on your way back down if you choose. I'm not going to judge you for that. I think last year they were selling tickets for the ride down, and they were 2 for 1, or buy one get one, and that kind of thing. So partner up with somebody if you want to do that. The hike down is not that bad, so that's up to you. And when you get back down, be sure to stop at base camp, and that's where you'll take those poker chips that you collect at each of the camps on the way up to the summit, and you turn those in you'll get another T-shirt for the from the Climb for Heroes folks, the Heroes Project. You'll have other swag. I think in the past they've done hats and bandanas and all kinds of frisbees and things like that. So I'm not sure what they'll have this year, but you'll get their swag that you can pick up then. And once you've done that, at this point we're coming back at all different times. So that's where I'm going to just go over when I get back to the Mount Baldy Lodge, which is in town, and find a place where some tables and where we can all kind of spread out and enjoy a well-earned beer and beverage to go with that. So I'd welcome you all to join me. Let's see. So let me see if I haven't seen any other questions here. Logistics we've covered. What is the Climb for Heroes? We've talked about that. I'm looking in the chat, and I see there's some questions about. He's asking about carpools. That is a great question. I think carpooling would be really, really useful to do on this event because there's a lot of people that are coming. I'll try to see what I can set up, probably on the SoCal Hiker forum. So I'll set up a carpool interest list on there, Christy. So hopefully people can kind of just say, hey, I'm in this area, I'm in the Temecula area, I'd be happy to carpool, or I'm in San Diego, or I'm in Orange County, whatever it might be. Tracy, ski lift. Yep, it's a fun ride. All right, well, let's see. I guess 2 other things I want to talk about. I want to talk about social sharing. So as you share photos, be sure to tag those photos, use hashtag Climb for Heroes. And for those of you on Team SoCal Hiker, use hashtag Team SoCal Hiker, all one word, and look for those. It's just kind of fun to see how everybody's the same experience, but from other people's perspective and what they experience on that event. So really looking forward to that. And I want to give some kudos. We have a lot of people who were signed up, have already registered on Team SoCal Hiker. And I ran the numbers just a few hours ago, so this isn't the latest and greatest, but it's pretty up to date. We had 54 people who've hit the $100 fundraising minimum. And I'm going to go through and just rattle off some names. So thank you to Michelle and Will Henderson, Jessica Tovar, Gerardo Perez, Christine Wilson, Jacqueline Melee, Ruben Martinez, Judy Canella, Nima Patel, Beatrice Pello, Martha Kruner, Grace Javier, Joe and Nancy Rojas, Keith Stockwell, Steve and Stephanie Ferris, Michelle Tompkins, Nick Wagstaff, Allison Litwack, Amy Archibald, Cassandra Rideout, Karen Kissinger, Heather Shannon, Natalie Curry, Jennifer Silfies, Catherine Kimura, Chelsea Knudsen, Melissa Holgreen, James McMillan. All of these folks have raised at least $100 or met the $100 minimum. Some of them a little bit more. And now going up above than that, above and beyond the minimum, Fernie Gonzalez, Jana Hernandez, Ann Baumgartner, Scott Stiss, Flo Villata, Meredith Crane, thanks to Billy Cortese, Adriana Tostado, James Hardy, Cece Lorthior, Philip Yoho, Leslie Glenn, Earl Ledger, Shannon Castellano, Whitney Lunskalow, Mike Gambino, Eric Dives, or Dives, I'm not sure which. I know I saw you on the chat, so hopefully I'm not butchering your name. Elaine Hirsch, Kelly Hume, Christy Olwing, Cecil Crudo, and our top fundraiser right now, Tracy Canistral. Thank you so much, Tracy. I think I saw you on here as well. She's raised $825 so far. So congratulations. Thank you so much for the fundraising you guys have done. As a team, we've raised over $9,500 so far. If you look on the team leaderboard for the CrowdRise page, we're in the top place right now. Not that that really matters to me, but I'm just stoked that everybody's excited about this and doing the fundraising. We also still have a bunch of people who are well on their way to the $100 minimum, and they still have a chance to get a t-shirt by, oh gosh, it's the 25th. So you have about 5 days to finish that fundraising for that. But even if you don't hit that deadline, I hope that you'll continue to fundraise and join us for the event. You can still hit the $100 minimum as long as you do it by the day of the event. You can certainly you can join in, and we'd love to see you. We'd love for you to be there, and it's a heck of a lot of fun. So you have all of that, and I'm going to be bringing along some swag. I don't know exactly what. Besides these t-shirts, I'm going to have some stickers and some other goodies that I can hopefully share with y'all on the way. So let's see. I think that was covering pretty much everything that I wanted to talk about. I've addressed sort of we talked about the agenda for the day or the schedule of the day, sharing what to bring, sort of what the route looks like, and I talked a little bit about training for this. There's more in that link on the website. Any other questions that anyone wants to add? Let's see, I'm looking here. Okay, Eric asks about, he said he comfortably hiked to Thunder Mountain Summit last week. Well done. Dives, just like into the water. Okay, Eric. Would you have a recommendation for a destination or elevation this week? Well, Thunder Mountain is great. I think that's a good. You're hitting right about the elevation you want to do, I think anything that's going to give you a couple thousand feet or more of vertical gain would be good, and some elevation. Thunder, Timber would be a good one. Even something like Mount Wilson, although it's lower in altitude, it's got plenty of vertical gain, so you'll know what your legs are how your body's gonna respond to that, and those would all be good choices. If you take a look at the trail listing on SoCalHiker.net, there's a bunch of examples on there, and you can sort those trail listings, the table, by the mileage or by the vertical gain. So you can resort the results to kind of get what you're looking for, and I'll give you some ideas. Let's see. Somebody, Gerardo, asked about Devil's Backbone safety. It is a great question, and that's the sketchy part. There's, as we know, as many people know, there are deaths on Devil's Backbone. There were deaths this year on Devil's Backbone in the snow, where people, fell and were unfortunately met their demise. There won't be snow on Devil's Backbone, knock on wood. It should be mostly clear right now, in fact. There are some sections that are a little sketchy where we kind of go across scree. And in the past years, what they've done for this event is they've actually rigged up a rope or a cable along that section. So if you're uncomfortable hiking along that section, you can kind of grab onto that rope as you cross that scree. But otherwise, the organizers of the event work really hard to make sure that it's a safe event, especially with so many people involved. So I'm not too concerned about that. However, if you do feel uncomfortable, you've never done it before, you're making you nervous, you don't have to do it. You can turn around at that point. And in fact, the camp number 3 is right before Devil's Backbone. It's a great turnaround point, and a lot of people, that's their goal, go to Camp 3 and they come back. Let's see, ski lifts, no ski lifts in hiking. Yes, well, you're definitely not going up a ski lift. That would not count, but I'm not gonna judge you if you want to take the ski lift down. That's totally up to you. I actually, the first time I did this, I was hiking with a friend of mine, Peter, and we got back to the notch. We stopped and had a beer, kind of relaxed a bit, and we thought, well, what do we do? Are we going to take the lift down or are we going to hike? And we ended up hiking down, and it was fine. It was not a big deal, a lot of fun. So just be prepared. And let's see, one says, can we uninvite Gerardo? Oh, that's harsh, Harwan. Let's see. Best shoes for this type of hike, Angeline asks. Well, you're going to want some shoes with some traction. It really depends on what you're used to hiking in. Basically, just something with a good traction, because there are some steep sections and it gets kind of like loose gravel, so it can get a little slippery. That's another reason why I like trekking poles. Just kind of gives me a little, another point of contact with the ground. I'm probably going to be wearing some trail runners, but they'll have some, thick, knobby soles, so I'll be able to, have good grip. We'll be wearing boots, that kind of thing. So it really depends on what you like to hike in. And I like to use, if you're not sure what to buy, I would recommend that you go to A16 or REI and talk to some folks there. They're really good about, fitting you and helping you make some good choices in those ways. Okay, anyone want to join me on screen? Come on, somebody. How's the snow looking on Baldy? Oh, Carell asked about the snow. Do I anticipate needing any special? I would say no. In fact, Greg Glass left a reply, no snow left on this route. It is possible, it's not likely, it's possible that there will be snow, a storm that comes in and could drop snow. A few years back, I was planning to hike Cucamonga Peak, and this was in the middle of May, about the same time this hike was scheduled for. And there was a snowstorm, I think the first or second week of May, just about a week before our hike. And we hit snow even before Ice House Saddle. And the snow was a little bit too treacherous for us to continue to Cucamonga, so we ended up going to Timber Mountain, which was okay, and back down. So it's possible. I don't want to say, you know, there won't be any snow at all. I expect that would be unusual. Let's watch the weather forecast. Right now, it's looking good. And as long as there are no new storms that coming in to dump snow, I think we should be fine. Greg, pray for snow. Yeah, I know you love that snow, Greg. And Gerardo says, look for Meredith, me and Gerardo for 22 push-ups plus 1 for the core on the summit. Wow, awesome. That'll be great. We'll be looking for Gerardo. I want to see the video. And notice snow. Yeah, I'm kind of with you there. I'm not looking at gearing up for that. So, and I don't think that overall most people are. So let's hope that we have a nice clear trail for a nice safe event. All right. Well, we've been 40 minutes in. I was kind of looking at somewhere between a half hour to an hour for this. I really thank each and every one of you guys for joining. And I'm really looking forward to meeting as many of you as I can on the Climb for Heroes on the 21st. I'm actually flying. Right now I'm in Seoul, Korea, and my flight's booked and everything. I'm going to be flying out to LA on the 18th of May. I'm actually hiking Mount Wilson on the 18th. I'm hiking Cucamonga on the 20th. And if my legs will still move, I'll be joining you on the 21st. Actually, I will be definitely there on the 21st. I may be moving a little lower than usual after doing those 2 other peaks on the days before. But whew, I'm looking forward to it. So if you haven't hit your fundraising goal yet, get out there and do it. You have 5 days to earn the t-shirt. And if you have and you still want to chip in somewhere, take a look at the roster and see who's close to it, and throw a few bucks their way to help them hit that $100 goal. And I will see you all on the mountain on the 21st. Have a great day, everybody. And I'll be sure to post a recording of this video and some notes from this online, so you guys, if you want to go back and look at it, or if you have additional questions, you'll have a place to go and see all that. And I'll send a link to y'all. Thanks for joining, and happy trails. This is always the thing. It's like, how do you stop this? Here we go. Bye, everyone.